Hey, what's going on, everybody? I am trying to introduce the podcast. Please do not interrupt me. It fucking sickens me. It disgusts me. I'm sorry.
Yeah, what's good, guys? This is the Super Deformed Gamecast. I am your host, Jay, for tonight.
Finally, somebody else introduced
I have my lovely crew here today, and we're going to be discussing video games, and numbers.
Hey, Jay. Hey, real quick. I would also like to do an introduction. Hey, everyone. It's Matt.
No.
With the true person.
Yeah, buddy.
It looks like you're holding a disembodied arm. Like, God, why are you holding it? Why are you holding it? You don't need to hold it.
Oh my God!
Okay, that's enough of that. We're done. I'm not saying hi to that fucking.
We've had our Saki quota for the show already.
Oh, I have so many like Saki transparent images on my desktop right now. like literally, like Ben like messages me on Twitter, and he's like, "Go do this." So, like when I go to work, I see it, and like I come home, that's the first thing I work on.
You fucking disgust me. Oh my God!
I don't know why I love Saki so much.
I don't know why. I really don't know why you do it, man. I really don't. I will. That is something I will never fucking understand.
Wait. All right, for realsies though, all I want to say is Saki came up with the greatest joke when we were talking about Nintendo's Direct, and I asked the question, what did we think about Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon? And then Saki popped up and said, dun dun dun.
This is...
It got eclipsed by other games.
This is the worst fucking podcast ever. This podcast is fucking garbage. Anyway, welcome everyone to episode 88 of the Super Deformed.
Matt's cracking up over there.
Matt's.
Oh, you're
it's not funny. It's not even funny. What are you laughing at? It's not funny. Jesus Christ. Anyway, this is episode 88 of the Super Deformed Gamescast. As always, I am one of your hosts, John, aka at Mr. Megadov on Twitter, and I have got an eclectic bunch today. We are waiting on one guest. Ken from Weapon Wheel Podcast will be on at around 9:30. But we are also joined by two very awesome friends of mine. First, as always, it's NPD time, and that means Matt Piscatella from the NPD group is on the podcast to talk about the health of the gaming industry and provide ammo to all those console war fanboys out there. So,
my job, what I do.
Thanks for contributing all the bullshit, Matt. Well done. And and we also have Brad Davis from the D-Pad, who is going to help us kind of understand why the deal with PewDiePie, which we're going to be getting into later, is such a big deal. And of course, he is going to give us the perspective of being an African-American man and a gamer, and give us his insight on that and how it affects him. So Brad, dude, it's a difficult subject to tackle, but we really appreciate you being on to talk. Yeah, man. Hey, dude, that's fucking awesome for you to be here. Awesome.
Yeah, no problem.
And then we got the rest of the group. We got Brandon is here. What's up, bro? And we got Jay, who is who, by the way, in case you guys hadn't figured this out yet, Jay is the one who manages the SDGC podcast Twitter, and he does a hell of a job. So, dude, you're doing awesome, man. I'm really glad you're here.
He really does.
I mean, it's mostly Saki running the Twitter now, but
fuck you. And we also have. Never mind. That's all we have tonight. And so we also have Finn, and that's it. So, and like I said, we have. Fine.
I'm here too.
Fine. We have Saki. And I don't mean the delicious alcohol. I mean the annoying. We also have. Anyway, Ken from Weapon Wheel is going to be here in about 20 fucking minutes, and Maddie's going to be joining us too. Maddie's
cried.
So anyway, why don't we start off with Matt Piscatella, who, once he catches his breath, is going to tell us what the industry is looking like this month. So why don't you go ahead, without any further ado, and tell us what happened in the NPD for August.
Yeah, right on. So overall, it was a fairly quiet month in terms of overall spending change, but there were a few things that really popped up that were very interesting. So spending was off a little bit, and that was really driven by No Man's Sky last year, which was actually a much bigger game in terms of sales than maybe a lot of people think. And it proved to be a very difficult comp. But, outside of that, a few things really popped up. First, the Switch. had another month at #1. That's 4 out of 6 months now.
It's so nice to see.
Yeah, the Switch has led in hardware sales, and a few really interesting things on the software side. So Madden, of course, was #1, and EA was the #1 publisher. But what we're seeing is that racing games, RPGs, and adventure games in particular are showing really good growth year on year and kind of overcoming what's been a slower year for shooters than we saw last year. And that's purely because last year was this amazingly epic year of shooters in terms of how well they sold. So it's still the 3rd best period ever for shooter sales. But coming off of last year, which was massive, we're still talking a 30% decline. So these games and other categories are more than making up for that.
That's fucking
crazy. Yeah. And the other big news coming out of the month is GTA 5.
That blows my fucking mind. Holy shit.
Yeah, so the #1 game ever.
You have to say what it did.
Yeah, it's the #1 game ever in both revenues and units.
Oh, that's nuts.
Man,
Yep.
so it crossed that this month, or?
Well, it's been a while, but it's the #1 in terms of revenue and units. It's also been on the top 10 chart 41 of the 49 months it's been in existence.
That is actually hilarious.
What the fuck?
I actually find that fascinating because considering it's always like on the top 10, what happened those 8 months it wasn't in the top 10?
Yeah, really.
The Xbox One, the PlayStation 4 came out.
Holiday, like November, December is usually where that happens.
Okay.
Okay, that makes sense.
But it's not because it's not selling well. It's just because all the
other games taking spotlight. Yeah.
Right. So and that's like 16 more times than any other title in history. So we just wanted to showcase the scale of just what kind of entertainment power. Forget a game. Like this is a entertainment powerhouse in line with any other of the biggest entertainment brands in the world. So a really fun month just for some of the weirdness going on underneath the top line number. But overall, I mean, things are looking so good. And would you look forward to October, November, December, and even September?
Man.
Oh, it's going to be fun.
Man.
Yeah, it's going to be great, man.
It's going to be an incredible year.
Trying to take off Mario Odyssey Day.
Can I?
Honest to God, guys, like we are in the middle of what might be the greatest year in gaming history.
Oh, yeah.
Certainly.
Yeah, NBA Live's coming back.
Well, sure.
Windjammers got
Windjammers. It's pretty decent this year.
It's a hell of a year, man.
First time since NBA Live 2010, I think it's the first time it's been a decent game. But
yeah, I bought Live 15 and I regretted it.
But one thing you really have to appreciate is that 2017 has been amazing for fans of almost every genre.
Yeah, any genre, definitely. I agree.
And from indie to AAA, almost everyone has had something to appreciate this year. And that's just usually not the case. Like even really niche genres like RTS and strategy have gotten things like Mario and Rabbids and the XCOM and even StarCraft or remastered. Indie games like Tooth and Tail, which just came out, and racing games, fighting games.
Yeah, I was going to mention racing games. This is the first year this gen in which there's a major racing title for every console. Switch was Mario Kart. GT Sport, PS4, and Forza on Xbox, which is every year. But
I just want to give a big shout out to Matt for putting out his video today. Like that was
that was fantastic.
Really informative, and you presented it like in a really digestible way, and you could get all the NPD goodness without having to wade through thousands of toxic comments on NeoGAF. And I just
or you can get all that stuff without having to visit this dumpster fire for podcast as well. So that's always good.
Actually, I would like to announce that we are the proud sponsor of all of Matt's good NPD work. It's because of us that we make it happen. So
you hear that, Matt? You hear that? Yeah. We made you, and we can unmake you, Matt.
I'll put it on a PowerPoint slide. It'll make it official.
So, guys, that's been the Patreon reward the whole time, is that you guys get updates on video game numbers.
That's it. That's the only reward.
You've been paying us money to get information about money in the video game world.
It's true.
Yeah, it's a circle of life.
It's full circle, yeah.
It's a circle of life. So, like this year has just been absolutely bonkers for games, and it is nice to see Nintendo bounce back in such a strong way. I mean, definitely. I cannot remember a time where a launch console has had this strong of a first year lineup. I mean, it's almost kind of fucking unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, Xenoblade 2
I kind of want to say PS2 just due to how great 2001 was.
But see, that wasn't the launch. 2001 was really good for the PS2. Or no, it was 2000.
But I mean, think about what's coming out this year. And by the way, speaking of things coming out this year, a shout out to my boy Anthony Agnello over at GamesBeat and on the Continue podcast, which I'm a huge fan of. Just want to point out, I'm going to really enjoy his live stream of The Evil Within later this year when Xenoblade Chronicles 2 launches on December 10th. 2017, just like I fucking said it would.
No, it's December 1st.
Is it December 1st? December 1st. December 1st. Just like I said.
To be fair, they could mean the European date. And
No. It's happening now. It's happening.
Let's not get too
I am like a gaming prophet, and everybody said, John, there's no way a Monolith title could release on time. It's just not feasible. It's not going to happen. Well, I have proved the naysayers wrong. I proved them wrong. This might be actually the first fucking bet I've ever won on Twitter. So I am unreasonably happy about it. I'm also happy I don't have to fucking stream Prey because
what happens if between now and launch it gets delayed?
It's not going to. Dude, look at the state of the game. This motherfucker's locked in.
Answer the question. What happened? It's not.
We don't have to worry about it, dude. That game is fucking.
So should I make a bet with you?
No, we're not. No, there's no more bets. There's no need for a bet. There's no need for a bet. The game is fucking coming.
I mean, Xenoblade 2 could pull down 3, and like the online component that has not been announced doesn't work.
No, the game comes out and it's done. That's it.
Delayed. You have to make a video saying Saki is the best.
No,
nope. I want to hear Saki's opinion on this matter. Is what I need to know.
Why do you do this?
Do you think the game will come out this year or be delayed till next year?
Well, I think it'll get delayed so John can suck it.
There we go.
That's wrong.
Saki has spoken.
Fuck Saki.
It's been etched in stone.
So every time that fucking thing opens its mouth, I lose my train of thought. It's not even a mouth. Every time it opens its orifice, I lose my train of fucking thought on this fucking podcast. But like I was saying, this has been a really, really amazing year for the Switch and its launch. I mean, you got Breath of the Wild, which is what that's like a 97 meta. I mean, people are calling it the best Zelda of all time, which I don't know about all that, but it's certainly a fantastic fucking game. Then you got Mario Odyssey, which I will be surprised if that scores anything lower than.
He has nipples now, so that's
he does. He does. I love that they made Mario anatomically correct, and the memes from that have been absolutely.
And isn't like Mario not a plumber anymore?
Yeah,
he's not.
That's apparently true. Yeah, that's what they say.
My childhood.
It really is. Well, like I guess it makes sense. I mean, he's like, I mean, he can't jump out of a pipe anymore and say, "I spend my days in people's shit and back hair." Like it's.
Can I be honest about the whole nipple reveal thing?
I really don't want you to be honest about anything involved.
Okay, I thought his chest be like really fucking hairy.
That's what I thought too.
I was really surprised when I was like, Bear. I'm like, damn, he must get that wax like every day.
I've seen some mock-ups out there. Someone's added the chest hair, and it's something special.
I feel like the chest hair should be
I feel like Mario with like chest hair should be official.
I feel like the.
I mean, the game's already rated E10. I think.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah, bumped it up to teen.
We don't want. I know those nipples, man. Those nipples are everything. They push the rating of the game up.
As an Italian,
my favorite was
when confirm the hairy chest.
Matt, the last thing I want to talk about on this podcast is your hairy chest. Like, not you.
What was that?
You got nothing. Put your fucking taco meat away. No, but stop that, Jesus. But in all seriousness, this has been a phenomenal year for the Switch. I mean, you've got what else is coming out? You got Pokken Tournament, which whatever. I mean, it's a remaster, but it's
NBA 2K18.
NBA 2K18. You got fucking Skyrim. You got Doom coming out, which blows my fucking mind.
And FIFA is going to do very well. I think FIFA is a dark horse to actually outperform on the Switch. And
really,
we talk so much about Switch too, but then we have the PS4, which in any other year would be the story that everyone talks about nonstop, and just how successful it's been. And then you have an Xbox One X, which is positioned to actually really do well with that dedicated core bleeding edge niche. So all three manufacturers could have a fantastic Q4 with great momentum going into Q1. I mean, what else could you ask for? For
Yeah,
an
it's
industry
great.
for an industry that at the end of 2013 people were saying would be the last
Doom,
console
yep.
generation.
I remember that.
That was so dumb.
All the CNN stories.
And they based it on the Wii U and the Vita, and it's like if you look at the problems of those two systems, it was obvious as to why the PS4, at least at minimum, wouldn't have those same issues. But people just wanted to make stories. Yeah.
It's funny. Like I remember an article on CNN very vividly in 2013, mid 2013. This is after obviously after the announcement of the current generation consoles, and it said is gaming dead? Like is this it? Like and this guy posited that these consoles are going to land with, or they were going to land with a thud. Blah 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 blah. It's all doom and gloom. And now we're sitting here. We've got a resurgent Nintendo, and the PlayStation 4 will probably not match the PS2 in sales, but it'll get 100 million easy. Like it'll hit 100.
Yeah, it'll eventually hit there. I'm pretty sure.
Which will make it
also don't forget that Sonic Forces comes out this fall for the Xbox One, the PlayStation 4, and the Nintendo Switch.
And it's probably going to suck.
You can pre-order the game now,
and it's probably going to be garbage.
Exclusive skins for Sonic Forces character.
It does not look good.
This message has been sponsored by Sega America.
But you could also get a fucking Persona 5 skin, which I don't fucking understand. That was a really good Sega, by the way. Not bad. But
you also have a PC platform that's stronger than ever, and you have mobile and tablets growing at the same time. I mean, anywhere you look, gaming is fantastic, except for the people playing them sometimes.
We'll get to that later.
We're gonna get into that. I do want to ask. I do want to ask a question because Matt, you touched on this in the video you posted today, actually, in your NPD video, and it's and this this all ties to sales. Talking about the the holiday season, you got the PS4, you've got the Nintendo Switch, and then you've got the Xbox One. And I would say that this is the first real three-way race during the holidays this generation. I mean, the Wii U is I don't count that as part of the non-starter. Yeah, exactly. So
it's done. Yeah.
So this is in my opinion, from a sales perspective, the first time this generation we've got three horses in the race, three viable horses during the holiday season, and I wanted to get your guys' opinions. Also, while we're waiting on Ken from Weapon Wheel to show up, I want to get your guys' opinions on what you think is going to happen this holiday season, because we're starting to ramp up to that, and what you think of specifically the Xbox One Slim Minecraft bundle being $400 available only at one retailer.
It's funny. I was and maybe Matt can add on to this, but has there ever been a time in which the Xbox brand has been around? So has there ever been a time past 2001 in which a Nintendo, a Microsoft, and a PlayStation console have all sold over 1 million in a month separately? Because I think that could be possible in November this year.
Yeah. Especially with that Mario bundle.
Hold on a minute. What's going on?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Shit, dude. My computer froze for a minute. That was fucking weird. I was like, no, shit.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, dude.
The X is definitely in some more than that Minecraft Slim bundle.
Okay, so so here's my take, right? Like, and I've had people say, "Oh no, John, you're wrong. It's going to sell to the kids, or it's going to sell to the parents. It's going to sell to the parents with kids because it's Minecraft." I would have agreed with that if it were $249, but and available at all major retailers. See, this is what I don't understand. I don't understand why Microsoft does this. Like, it's the same thing that happened. I think it was in 2014 when they had the Rise of the Tomb Raider bundle, and it was available in Best Buy and Best Buy alone, and it retailed for, I can't remember what the retail price, but it was available for with one retailer, and they had like 8 different fucking bundles, which I was like, holy shit.
That was a big bundle year.
Yeah, I was like, what the fuck? But I fail to see the logic of selling any bundle. I don't care if it's Minecraft or whatever, any console for $399 when there is a perfectly viable Xbox One S for $249, and it's going to go down further on Black Friday. I don't see that console doing well. I don't see the Minecraft bundle making a dent at all. And I wanted to ask Matt specifically, what is the reasoning behind a move like this? Because I fail to understand it. It seems I don't know, just boneheaded to me.
First of all, Brad's absolutely right. December of 2011 is the last time we had 3 platforms really hit that barrier or that mark. So good call, man. I didn't even know that. It's awesome, man. So I don't want to speculate too much on strategy and what they might be thinking. However, over the last couple of years, Sony's very much gone with a one bundle or two bundle at a time strategy in the holiday period, while Microsoft's had multiple bundles targeting different groups, right? And there's pluses and minuses to both strategies. If you have a lot of bundles, you have a lot of opportunity to attract a lot of different people. If you have one bundle, you really make the supply chain easy and you make the choice for consumers very easy. There's one thing to buy instead of a whole bunch. Who knows what kind of agreements might have happened between retailers and Microsoft in terms of making this one particular retailer an attractive place to put it. Perhaps they found that would be the best opportunity. Going after mom at Target's a very smart play, but difficult to speculate on. But I can see how the business got there. Now, to your point, it's like whether it's going to be ultimately successful. I think with a product that expensive at that price point and designed that way, it is absolutely targeting a certain niche of the market, and they're not trying to take this totally mass. They're trying to really appeal to a specific subset of consumers. You know, for the complete mass market shopper, the X1S bundle is still going to be the one to go with. So I think it's smart in the sense that it offers a premium edition of the console to attract a certain portion of the demographic, if that makes sense.
No, it makes perfect sense. So I guess I'll piggyback off of that, and I'll throw this at you. While I was running today, I was actually thinking about this because I think about weird video game shit when I'm jogging, and somebody had said, "Well, you know, John, it'll sell to the parents because it's Minecraft," and I'm running along. I'm like, no, I don't think it will. But then I remembered that Nintendo just announced their Super Mario Odyssey bundle. You know, with the red Joy-Cons, you know, and you get a digital download of Super Mario Odyssey, and you get a kind of cool looking Mario case for your Nintendo Switch, and that is priced at like $379. It's $379, so it's not that much less expensive than the Minecraft Xbox One S. And I was thinking to myself, you know, well. And I had previously said, well, this is going to sell fucking millions. Like, this is going to fly off the shelves. But then I started feeling like a hypocrite because I was like, well, you know, how can I say that the Minecraft bundle isn't going to sell, and then say, whoa, but this almost comparable in price anyway, Nintendo Switch bundle will sell. And I wanted to throw that out. And Ken from Weapon was going to be here in about 5 minutes, and after that, we'll move into the PewDiePie talk. But I wanted to throw that to the group and ask you and ask you guys, like, do you like, what do you guys see that Super Mario Odyssey bundle performing like this holiday, and do you think Nintendo will be able to keep up with the demand? That's for everybody.
Yeah, I didn't know we want to go first.
No, go ahead.
I think the bundles don't sell well. I don't think they're going to be able to keep up with the demand.
Nope.
No, there's no way.
I think that first batch of the bundles they release are going to sell really quickly because it's a Switch and it's Mario. Mm-hmm. I don't think Nintendo doesn't have enough bundles to keep the shelves stocked.
Yeah, I was surprised to see it at all, actually. I thought that there's no need to do a bundle for holiday because inventory is going to be so tight, but hey man, good on them for doing something that really appealed to that fan base.
Well, I mean, they're both cultural icons. I mean, you have Mario, who's like the mascot of video gaming, pretty much, and you have a Switch, which is like the hot item of 2017. It's going to sell well.
Combine the two, you're going to have a supernova effect. You place that.
Yeah, exactly.
That's if at any point after launch, like if there was a Switch in the Wild, a Mario bundle Switch in the Wild 3 days after it launches this holiday, I will be genuinely shocked. I expect it to be gone everywhere.
I expect it to be Craigslist postings that people sell like their bundles for 600,
eBay,
700
the eBay prices of those are going to be astronomical.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me ask you guys this then. Does and this is kind of something that just jumped into my head based off of what Matt had just said. Does the fact that they are because I was not expecting a Super Mario or any kind of bundle really from Nintendo.
I called it in March.
You absolutely did. I remember that, and I said no, absolutely not. But now here we are. We're living in the upside down world where it's actually happened. And does that indicate that Nintendo is beginning to resolve their stock and resupply issues?
Yeah.
What do you guys think? Is this a sign that things are starting to become easier for Nintendo on the production?
I think they're going to be able to put more out this holiday than we've seen, but it's just not going to meet demand, so it won't feel like we have, if that makes sense. Like, the end result will still be people walking into empty Switch shelves when they want one, even though technically they are putting more out.
You're going to be walking by, like, the doors of, like, Best Buy and GameStop, and they're going to have signs out saying no more Switch bundles available.
I was actually able to snag one today for my son, who's 9 years old, and it's gonna be the most epic fucking Christmas present ever. The fucking Mario Odyssey bundle. He's gonna flip over it. But
from what store though?
Best Buy.
Okay.
I got it from Best Buy. Pre-ordered from Best Buy. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that happens. But hey, we've been joined by Ken from Weapon Wheel Podcast. You guys might know him on Twitter. He used to be known as Broken Games HD, but not anymore. He doesn't go by that anymore. So Ken, dude, it's awesome to have you with us, man. I'm glad you dropped in.
Hello.
Thanks for the invite. What's going on, everybody?
Hey, what's going on, man?
How you doing?
All right. All right. So I kind of want to get, now that Ken is here, I kind of want to get into the meat and potatoes of what we're going to be talking about tonight.
PewDiePie.
And yeah,
John.
What's up?
Quick thing before we switch in that, I don't want to side rail it. So after we're done with that, I would like to swing back to another question from Matt.
That's fine, but that's fine. But let's focus on PewDiePie right now.
Exactly.
So as everybody knows, if you're a gamer, about maybe I want to say a week ago, there was an incident with PewDiePie, and I don't have to explain who PewDiePie is, so I'm not going to bother. He was streaming a game. I think it was PUBG.
Yes.
Which must have just fucking horrified PlayerUnknown. And he, in a what is being described as a heated gaming moment,
Yeah, that's
fucking makes me just want to vomit in my mouth.
I hate that because that term was coined by Ian.
Yeah. So he used the N-word, and he used it very casually. It sounded very natural to him. And there have been a lot of people on Twitter on either side of the issue, a lot of people condemning it, as we all have on this podcast, very, very vociferously. But there has also been a very large subsection of people who have been not praising him, but defending him, saying, oh, well, he didn't really mean it in a racist term. He meant it as, in the same way you would call somebody an asshole. That's not
racist at all.
That's not racist at all. Well, and it reached the peak of ridiculousness when Ian Miles Chong tweeted out, he used the N-word like you were.
Yeah, even he didn't type it out.
Yeah, that's the thing. I'm like, if it's not a big deal, Ian, why don't you just say it?
You can't type it out, then you already know you're in the wrong. So yeah, it was dumb.
So, in that regard, we decided, I don't think this is an issue that we can ignore. And I don't think that I think it's something that needs to be confronted. And somebody asked me about that. They said, well, John, why? Who cares? It's no different than some 14-year-old on Xbox Live or PlayStation Network, calling you the N-word while you're playing Call of Duty.
It's entirely different.
Well, it's not. It's also more dangerous because I pulled up several very well-known podcasts, and I took a look at their subscribers, right? You've got Kind of Funny Games. Kind of Funny Games has, when you combine Kind of Funny and Kind of Funny Games, which are two separate channels, they have a little over 500,000 subs, right? Angry Joe has almost 3 million subscribers, which is a lot. Jacksepticeye, who most of you guys have heard of, has about 16.5 million subs. And then you have
Jacksepticeye's posted on Gaff before he was even famous.
He has. And then you have PewDiePie, who has 57 million subscribers, and his videos get an average. I looked and I did the math and I added it up because I like to be thorough. His videos get an average of 7.5 to 8 million views a pop, sometimes more. And this is the image that people have of gamers when he does this. So I wanted to. We need to talk about it, and we need to confront it, and we need, because there's a lot of noise out there telling us that we shouldn't worry about it, that it's not that big of a deal, which is why
that they're not focusing on is that PewDiePie has such a huge following of young, impressionable kids and preteens that then view this as acceptable behavior from their role model.
Well, and that's why I have Brad and Ken on, because as African American males, they have a deeper and more personal insight on this issue than any of us do. And I personally feel it's a bit disingenuous to have a bunch of white guys talk around, or talk about PewDiePie and complain about him.
Yeah, if it's going to be just us, we might as well not talk about it.
Exactly. No, and so with that said, I want to start with Ken from Weapon Wheel Podcast. Ken, I have been following you for a long time. I really respect your work. I've been on your podcast a few times, and I have seen you sparring with a few individuals on Twitter over this issue. Which is one reason I specifically wanted you on. What was your reaction when you first heard about this?
I wasn't surprised that PewDiePie said it. Like I didn't feel anything like some type of anger when he said it. What didn't surprise me, because I know people, outside of my race say it, behind closed doors. That's not surprising to me. It doesn't necessarily upset me. What more surprised me was people's ridiculous defense. Like I feel like if you're gonna defend something outrageous, at least like make it a valid defense. But these people were coming up with the crazy.
Can I actually jump in on
this
that
is
really
like
quick?
just straight up wrong.
Yeah,
There's no in between.
Can I jump in really quick about something?
Yeah,
I feel like the fact that PewDiePie is a white guy is a good reason why a lot of people came to his defense. I feel like it would have been like any other race, they would have just like dismissed him.
Yeah,
because most of the people defending him on Twitter were white people.
Yeah, and I think it was pretty much them covering up for the fact that they say.
Yeah, I mean, like it was like mostly all white
in
people like just defending PewDiePie.
Yeah.
I mean, PewDiePie is a white guy. PewDiePie is a successful white guy. It's like it's just one mistake. Like we can let this slide. It's like, but the thing is like if PewDiePie was like an African American guy and he had said something bad like this, I mean, like he would have been dismissed. Like
Yeah, and like for one thing, people saying it was a mistake. The thing about, like I said this before, about human speech behavior, we don't just in quote unquote heated gaming moments, we don't say anything that we don't normally use in our.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Ken. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but that fucking term.
Yeah.
In the heat of the moment.
Yeah.
How ridiculous is that?
Yeah.
Every single person on this podcast has been in a moment more heated than a PUBG shootout.
Yeah. And it has never crossed my mind to say that word.
I'll say this.
John and I were actually in Iraq in actual combat, and I don't remember letting any racial
I have literally, Brandon and I both have literally been fucking shot at. And I have shot at people, and never once. I have seen bullets impact in the sand in front of me, no more than a foot in front of my toes. And those are the most fuck a heated gaming moment I've had.
You better believe I was yelling motherfucker and stuff like that. Yeah. But I mean, my first go-to word wasn't the N-word.
My first thought was you motherfuckers. Like it has never crossed my mind. I have never actually said that word, not in jest, not just to hear what it sounded like. It has never crossed my mind to say that word. Especially not in a heat.
But for PewDiePie, it was the first word.
Yeah, it was the first. Yeah, exactly. He said it so naturally. I was like, wow. Well, I mean, it didn't surprise me because again, he has a history of this. But what surprised me was just how easily he said it. Like he didn't
casual
hesitate.
manner of it.
Yeah,
did you guys see that just a week earlier he had let it slip out again?
Yeah,
well, he almost did. Yeah,
really? I didn't know that.
Yeah. So you love this. He was playing a PUBG again, I think, and he says, "You stupid," and then he stopped himself, and then one of the people playing with him said, "Ninja." You stupid ninja, and I'm like, you fucking asshole.
Okay.
Like,
I mean, that alone shows that he says it often. So, yeah.
I have a question with Ken and Brad. Have you guys encountered any of these awful people trying to defend it?
On Twitter, yeah.
I know Ken's seen on Twitter.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Definitely
Yeah, I mean on Twitter, yeah. Twitter, you can find anybody.
Yeah, I mean, I'm fortunate enough to live in New York. I would say New York is probably a more liberal place. So
yeah,
I think the people who live here are much more open-minded. So I think I encounter a lot of people of different races that are very open-minded.
Yeah.
I'm fortunate enough not to live in other places who are a little bit more, I guess, conservative and closed-minded.
Yeah, it's funny because when people think Buffalo, New York, they think New York. Okay, so it must be like New York City when it's it's not. But I live in the downtown area, and here it's pretty open-minded. A lot of different people of different backgrounds, a lot of immigrants too. So, I mean, it's very, very open-minded in the downtown area, but I'll pretty much say outside of the downtown area and the west side and Elmwood area in Buffalo, I would say it's very, very close-minded. I mean, it's almost like a night and day difference, especially in the suburb areas. Very, very close-minded people in those areas, especially, and not to downplay anybody that lives in these areas as trying to group everybody into one bubble, but I would say especially Hamburg area and Orchard Park, they're really known for just really hateful views, and South Buffalo too. So
right, and
here in the Buffalo area, you get you get a good mix of just different viewpoints. But I would say being in the downtown area, it's been very good to see just people hanging out with each other that are from different backgrounds, different religions,
right,
and it's been a positive thing to see, especially during these crazy times right now.
Yeah,
it's been really. Oh, sorry, Ken, go ahead.
No, and the other thing I was gonna bring up his apology video that he made.
Oh God, yeah.
And see, the thing about the apology, like I said, this whole PewDiePie thing. It's like I set PewDiePie aside. I don't nothing he said really mattered to me. It was people's reaction, and the comment section, was full of because YouTube is an extension of what the real world is. So it's mostly white people on there, and they're telling PewDiePie he's forgiven. Right, and my thing is, it doesn't make sense to me how you can tell him that he's forgiven for saying a slur that wasn't meant to offend.
Wasn't meant for white people.
Exactly. Like I thought about it, and I'm like, that's like taking a Jewish person and a Nazi, and the Nazi said something extremely offensive to the Jewish person, and then the Nazi apologizing, but then me stepping in as a black man to tell the Nazi, "Oh, you're forgiven." How can I tell the Nazi he's forgiven on behalf of the Jewish person? That doesn't make any sense.
Yep,
I would never do that.
I agree 100%. And I'm glad you brought up his apology video, because I watched it and then I watched it again because
the moment to apologize was 2 seconds after he said it.
So
he didn't
exactly
write the script for his apology.
Well, and here's the best part about his apology video. I watched it, right, and I've got it right here. I've got it pulled up. It is a minute and 35 seconds long. His apology doesn't come until a minute and 10 seconds in.
Wow.
Hey there, guys. PewDiePie. Please subscribe to the channel. Please buy my merch over at PewDiePie.com. Anyways, it's my apology. I apologize.
He starts
Thanks
out
for watching.
He starts out by saying, "I'm sorry that." What were the actual? Hold on, I've got it right here. He says, "I wanted to make a statement about what I said while I was streaming." I'm listening to it right now. He says, here's the best part. He says, "I know you're not going to believe me when I say this, but when I hear that language being spoken when I'm playing with other people, I think it's immature." I'm like, no, it's fucking racist, first of all, PewDiePie. It's not fucking immature. It's racist. And second of all,
immature is just using curse words, period. But I mean,
yes, this is like
a whole different
my 9-year-old. My 9-year-old is immature. Okay,
exactly,
because he throws fits when he doesn't get what he wants. That is immaturity.
Immature is tossing the controller when you lose.
Immature is having a talking sock over your shoulder trying to get a rise out of me. That's immature.
No, that's just being a genius.
But what PewDiePie is doing, like, all jokes aside, like, if you look at this fucking apology video, check this out, right? It's got 6,054 views, 600,054 views. Likes. It's got well over 500,000 likes and only 49,000 dislikes. So the ratio of likes to dislikes is astronomical. The gulf is 80% likes. So he has a base. He has a base that is going to apologize for him and carry water for him, and do like guys like Ian Miles Chung or that Rags guy on Twitter. I don't know a whole lot about Rags.
Oh, yeah.
He's like, he's a PC guy. But they're the ones, and what's killing me are guys like this telling people like Ken and Brad how they should and shouldn't feel about this. you guys shouldn't be offended by it. You shouldn't be offended by it because
don't give words power.
Don't give the word power.
That is the one I hate the most. Like, you're the ones giving the word power.
You don't get to
making
tell
it
history.
racist. I'm like, whoa. Just be honest and say.
I mean, these were probably the same guys that said it was right for Nick Robinson to slide into girls' DMs.
No, I mean, but the thing is, it's like,
yeah, I mean, like, it's just not cool. I mean, like,
him so much is because it's. I think Brad mentioned earlier, they are probably the same people that say it in their own casual conversations with their friends, and they don't want to be told it's wrong. By defending PewDiePie,
that's what it is.
They're defending their own ability to say it.
Exactly. So they're putting themselves in PDP's shoes, and when they see all the hate that PDP gets, they know that they will get the same amount of hate if they were in his position. So that's why they are defending him.
Because they see something in themselves that makes them uncomfortable.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, I don't understand how you can get mad when people call gamers, antisocial, and yet brush aside what PDP did. Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I don't like the new. They tried to push this narrative that suddenly words don't mean anything. I'm like, since when? So like, since when?
I mean,
I didn't
2013, that whole Gamergate stuff. I mean, that was mainly words going back and forth. Yeah, and now you're gonna say those words don't matter. It doesn't.
Words
doesn't make sense.
Words have more power than it's like when Tim. I remember years ago when Tim Allen, he said I should be able to use the N-word during a comedy routine because I am not a racist, and by using that word, I am taking the power away from it. The problem is the problem with what the problem, and I don't
definitely tool time there.
And yeah, exactly. Now, and I don't want to specify. I don't think Tim Allen's a racist. I don't know the guy, but I don't think he's a racist.
He is an asshole, though.
He's an asshole, but he's not a racist. Having said that, the word was given power ages ago by slave owners, by Jim Crow, by what happened to Emmett Till. That's where the word was given power. And people say, "Oh, John, but it's no worse than calling," and I actually had somebody tell me this, John, it's no worse than somebody calling a white guy cracker. And I'm like, get the fuck out of my face, dude. Like, what? Come on, like, get the fuck out of here, dude.
Nothing insult. It doesn't mean anything.
Not only does it not mean anything, but in America, white people, especially white males, have never gone through the degradation and the subjugation that African Americans have, and that is a fact. So when people use that word, you need to understand you're not taking power away from it. The power is there. It is not your place to take power away from that word.
Right.
It's not your place.
And I just
go ahead. Jeff, who isn't on the show tonight, wrote an apology on PewDiePie's behalf. Like, this is all everybody.
Oh, that was really good.
Yeah. All he had to do was say, you know what? He had to just own his mistake. He had to admit that what he did was wrong. Mm-hmm. You know what? And there are some people that make the claim that he's European and over there the word doesn't have, and I don't agree with that either. But he didn't even use that.
He doesn't want to.
Of wrongness.
So hey, while we're talking, can somebody queue up that apology that Jeff wrote? Because I would like somebody to read it. Because it was, if you could, Jay, because it is heartfelt.
No. I was actually bringing up something else about this whole situation.
Okay, go while I pull it up.
All right, so John had mentioned earlier that, like, people are saying it's no different than when a 14-year-old says the word in an online, match or whatever. What I think a lot of people forget is that people like PewDiePie and JonTron are what the 14-year-olds are watching on YouTube nowadays.
Yep.
Yeah. I've actually had a really personal dilemma lately involving my little brother. I'm checking the Instagram because I like to check Instagram because I am a 23-year-old, and my brother's meme account on Instagram pops up because he has it listed on his phone number.
Mm-hmm.
So I check it out, and it's a bunch of neo-Nazi stuff about how they wish they can go back to the good old days, and it's like Nazi marches.
Man,
you have to remember that people like JonTron and PewDiePie have done neo-Nazi acts.
See, this is a thing. It's like just 3-4 years ago, a lot of people thought, okay, this generation of kids, they're gonna grow up to be so open-minded,
and they're not.
And yeah, people like, again, JonTron,
Yeah, I mean, and they're not, and like
what they're doing. Yeah, it's not going to help.
My brother.
I was going to say it's interesting to see just how, we thought back in like 2012, 2013, how the internet would just bring. Yeah, exactly. The internet would just bring so many people together. But now we're seeing the internet being used as a way to bring up all these hateful views. I mean, and those views were always there, but to see it pop up so much in terms of mainstream media and just people that we know are really popular, it's kind of just mind-blowing to see this shift, just happen so rapidly. And it makes me worried about, the kids, again, as you said, if you're pretty much a gamer that was born after probably 2004, then you know who PewDiePie is.
Mm-hmm.
And so,
I mean, my fucking mom knows who PewDiePie is, dude.
And the thing, the thing to me is that, like, I get that, like, someone might be playing a game online and might call someone a bastard or something like that. That's what I did when I was 14 years old. But I feel like when you're supporting the whole neo-Nazi like movement, like because you're taking it as a joke, and like millions of people died like during the Holocaust. Like that's not a joke. Like when I was in college, I've been to parties where we play Secret Hitler, and like there's people like, well, Hitler wasn't so bad, and like I mostly got into fights with them.
Christ.
And like the thing is, I hate Nazis. And I hate the fact that people like PewDiePie and JonTron, who have this huge like viewer base, are encouraging like neo-Nazism on these kids, and these kids are thinking like it's funny that like, oh haha, there's this guy who like was really so jealous of this race that he wants.
Insane. And what makes me mad too is that, well, when I was in high school for community service during my senior year, I worked at a retirement home, and there was people that remembered how it was during the 1940s, and it would tell me stories about just how scared they were. And now these kids, when they become my age, there might not be that many people that were alive during the 1930s, 1940s to see that happen. Mm-hmm. So it's going to be even harder to explain to them why those views are just so disgusting and wrong. And, I hate to say it, but it might even cause a little bit of a rise in what we saw in our history books, reading about that era. It's just,
I mean, we already have entitled, privileged white dudes just protesting because they don't get one single thing that they want. Yeah. Well, I mean, like the thing is like my brother and I have grown up differently. I grew up with my mother. I grew up like a more like liberal, household. My brother's grown up a more conservative household. His parents want him to go to all white schools. Like they don't like black people. Like, so I think it has something to do with it as well. But like, he's told me he's a fan of PewDiePie. I've seen his YouTube channel. He likes all of PewDiePie's videos. He likes all of JonTron's videos, even the neo-Nazi ones. And I'm glad that people like JonTron and PewDiePie are finally getting called out for this, because it should have happened a long time ago. I mean, it's just not cool. Like, you have these guys who are playing games for a living, and they're making a shit ton of money off of it. And then they think it's just cool to be like, oh, ha ha ha. Like,
it's just crazy because if these two guys worked in any, I shouldn't even say a real job. I mean, because they're, like putting videos on YouTube. I mean, it's a job. It takes a lot of time to do that. But I mean, just any regular office job, they'll be fired on the spot.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. But YouTube is still latching on to these guys.
It hasn't been that long since Michael Richards had his big outburst. Never heard from again.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the problem is that, I mean, PewDiePie isn't going anywhere.
Yeah, he's not. He just has too big of a following.
Hold up. I think a bunch of game publishers have actually flagged his videos, and PewDiePie said today, like, if like 3 more videos get flagged, like his channel's gone forever.
Yeah, but he said my channels. He's done that before. Yeah, he's not going anywhere, dude. He's not going
to give up millions of dollars a year.
No.
Yeah, he'll. I mean, if his channel.
He has direct contacts with YouTube.
Google. Yeah, exactly.
Well, I think about this. This man used to be sponsored by Disney.
Yeah, that's the crazy thing about it.
Well, and Warner too.
Well, hold on. I want to let Matt Piscatella get a word in. He's been quiet.
Yeah, so I mean, coming from the industry, I was at Warner when we signed PewDiePie for the Shadow of Mordor videos back in 2014. And, so I hear these stories and I'm watching what's going on, and I have a sense of responsibility for it. In a sense, it wasn't my decision, but I was there being excited about the opportunity. And now I'm watching developers like Camposanto come back with some very strong takes on it, trying to incite action. And I hope more developers and publishers follow the suit. And I think that the DMCA issue is going to get bigger. It's going to get to the courts, and it's going to change the entire way that this current system is set up. And I hope it does it for the better. And I know that a lot of people are against the DMCA notice. It does put a burden on people that didn't do anything wrong. But this has to be fought. And the system as it is can't sustain itself like this.
So and with that, I want to Brad, you wanted to say something real quick.
I was gonna say, I definitely understand both sides to the DMCA issue. I do think that they're gonna in the future use it, just to shut videos down instantly. But when it comes to, again, what he said, what PewDiePie said, I think that's pretty much the only option in order for them to instantly be untied from any association with them. Because if they tried to talk to YouTube, that would probably take weeks, even months, for them to stop having videos made alongside his commentary. But with that DMCA notice, you can just have it instantly within a week, just say, okay, we're going to drop you. So, I mean, that's the tough thing about it. They're using that. They're kind of twisting it. But, I mean, if there was any time to twist it, it will definitely be now, to be honest.
So, and that's, I'm glad we're talking about this, because I wanted to get into the DMCA stuff, and I want to throw this at Ken first. Because Ken has a very large channel with a lot of traffic. He streams a lot of games. And he has grown within the industry a great deal, which is really, really refreshing to see. So before I throw this to Ken for his opinion, in case you're in chat and you don't know what the DMCA is, it's the Digital Millennium Copyright Act. And what that is, it's a United States copyright law that throws together two 1996 treaties of the World Intellectual Property Organization. It basically criminalizes production and dissemination of technology, devices, and services which are intended to circumvent measures known as digital rights management, which is basically DRM. You guys know it as DRM.
Yep.
That control access to copyrighted works. And it also criminalizes the act of circumventing and going around access control, whether or not there is actual infringement of the copyright itself. And as Brad has already stated, and it's been mentioned before just a few minutes ago, Campo Santo, who are the developers of Firewatch, have issued a claim, a DMCA claim against PewDiePie's channel. Based upon the principle.
I don't think they actually did. Like, he said he was going to talk to his lawyer.
He said he was considering it. So yeah, that's true. And it's all about fair use. And the big argument right now about fair use is that fair use is any copying of copyrighted material which is done for a limited or transformative purpose, basically to comment on, criticize, or parody any kind of copyrighted work. And those can be done without permission from the copyright owner. So in other words, fair use is a defense against a claim of copyright infringement. And I wanted to throw it at Ken because this is a dicey issue for a lot of people. And like Brad, I see both sides of the issue. But as somebody who's a very prolific streamer and YouTuber, Ken, what do you think about the whole possibility of DCMA being raised?
I definitely see both sides. Like, I don't want it to, I guess, get abused. Some people saying it's definitely being maybe like just altered in this situation from its like intended use. But I can understand him wanting to kind of like make an exception for this type of ordeal, that he just doesn't want his game associated with anything regarding PewDiePie. Exactly. I can understand him defending, and protecting his content. That's what he's trying to do.
And that's the thing, because I mean, it's due to him commentating on the game, his comments are now associated with that game.
Exactly.
So it's like, you, as a person whose views aren't in line with what he said, and as a person who has a game or a product that they want to protect, you have to make desperate measures to disassociate yourself away from pretty much anything that person does.
I mean, if PewDiePie is playing your game on YouTube, he's basically that game salesperson, and with the response of the salesperson, he is part of the company. So if he says something that you don't like, you want to cut ties with him. Yeah. And of course, if you try to do that, like as we've seen with Firewatch, you'll probably get hit with a lot of negativity from his fan base.
Well, and this is so here's the issue with this, right? And again, this is I would love to hear more from Ken and from Matt Piscatella on this as well, because Matt has got his finger on the pulse of the industry, as we all know. So I think this is where you are going. Like, I see both sides of the issue as well. What the hell? Oh, that was somebody's alarm. I see both sides of the issue as well. I am fully in favor of me personally having PewDiePie's fucking channel wiped from YouTube. Like, I think he's a turd, and I think he makes gamers look fucking bad. At the same time, we have to recognize that under the First Amendment, he does have the right to say whatever horrible shit he wants on his channel, and nobody can take that away from him. But I think that we are about to see developers and publishers start to be challenged to put their money where their mouth is in this regard, because at the end of the day, PewDiePie has 57 million subs, right? That's a huge audience for your game, and people want their game, especially the smaller developers, to have that kind of exposure. Because with 57 million viewers, if he plays a game and he loves it and he praises it effusively, that is something
guarantee that you'll
exactly
get sales from,
it'll sell more, because PewDiePie is the most, I would say, probably outside of the gaming media, the most influential gaming YouTuber. I hate to say it, but he is.
Does anybody remember when PewDiePie like reviews were on game posters?
Yeah.
Was that for Shadow and Mordor? It was like a quote, and it's like, I mean, of course, I know they had that sponsorship, but it's like that's how big of an influence he is.
Well, I mean, there's now an entire part of the industry and positions at companies called influencer management, where your entire job is to get your game's coverage with various influencers, because that's how big a deal they are. And that was pretty much, I don't want to say single-handedly, but PewDiePie is a massive part of that.
Well, and this is why I want to throw the question primarily to Ken first, and then to Matt Piscatella, simply because these two guys are probably the most connected to the industry on this podcast. So do you guys think that we will see publishers start to shy away from having PewDiePie market their games? Do you think that this one incident has caused him to be toxic enough to where people are going to declare him persona non grata in regards to their published titles? Or do you think this will be a repeat of the Kill All Jews incident, which was just a joke?
That's what lost him his Disney contract, though.
Yeah, that's true, but he's still playing fucking games, and
yeah, but they'll keep cracking down on him. I mean, there is a breaking point.
I don't know. Like, I want to start with Ken. I want to start with Ken, and then I want to move to Matt Piscatella.
I would say, first of all, I think it's real hard to hurt PewDiePie or really make him care. Even this like backlash, I don't think he really feels it. Like, I think it's hard for him to feel it.
Yeah.
While I'm pretty sure he hasn't lost any views. Like, if anything,
I doubt it too.
He's still got 57 million subs. Like, I mean,
you know what's crazy? Now that you mentioned the subs, the fact that what the Fine Brothers did caused them to lose far more subscribers than PewDiePie. Isn't that crazy?
Unfortunate.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate.
It shows what people care about.
Really, and
it's crazy.
It's going to take a lot more of publishers to really get on board.
And you know what? Yeah, I was going to say what PewDiePie needs to do to make his channel go down is to say that he wants to make a monopoly out of all gaming YouTubers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just to say that, I want to take your gaming content and make it part of my own channel, and he'll get far more backlash than when he received this past week. It's crazy, but that's just the case. Yeah.
So like after this, Ken, and then we'll move to Matt. If a publisher were to come to you and say, you being an African American male who has probably been on the receiving end of a fucking horrible insult like this in your life, if a publisher came to you, and especially you being an influential YouTuber, and said, look, we don't condone what PewDiePie said, but we really want to expose our title to the widest possible audience, and unfortunately for he is the widest possible audience. Like, what would your response to that be?
I wouldn't be mad at them, because it it is business. I do think there's a breaking point, right? Because he did the whole, you know, anti-Semitic thing already. That was one base. Now with this comment,
just trying on a hat.
This is another base. I'm like, so who does he have to offend, right? To like,
right?
People.
Again, he has to offend gamers.
Yeah, you're right. Exactly.
Yeah, he has to offend gamers.
Yeah, he has to say he has to come up with a horrible insult that applies to every single one of those 57 million subscribers.
Exactly.
That's what he does.
I mean, yeah, side with somebody that says gamers are antisocial. You know,
and he can't do it. And that's the punchline, is that he can't do it, which means PewDiePie is never this. I agree with Ken. This is not ever really going to affect him. It's not. It's simply not. Which sucks for everybody like us who are decent human beings and who play games without prejudice, who live our lives without prejudice, without racial hatred, who try to live tolerant lifestyles. It sucks for guys like us because
like being associated with him,
because I mean,
he's the most popular, one of the most popular gamers in the world.
My own mother is aware of this situation, and she says, "This is one more reason, John, why I don't like you playing those video games at age 37." And I'm like,
I mean, it's understandable for somebody,
I think the thing is,
I shouldn't say because I don't know your mom, but, I'm assuming people of her age group. I mean, that's what they would say in terms of this situation.
Yeah. I think the thing is rather than be ashamed of being a white male gamer or being associated with PewDiePie, we need to prove that not all white male gamers are like this. So
and we're going to talk about how to do that in a minute. We'll close it out with that, but I want to throw it to Matt Piscatella and ask him, Matt, the same question I posed to Ken. You see a lot of what's going on, not just in the development community, but in the publishing arm of the business. You are really well connected to that. And when you have companies like, and obviously being with NPD, you can't speak for anybody. I'm just asking for Matt Piscatella's opinion. When you talk about companies like EA and Activision, like the big ones, like, do you see big name publishers shying away from PewDiePie after this, or is the allure of that much exposure going to be too great, in your opinion?
So let me come at that in a slightly different way. So
please.
Relationship between the publishing and the streaming community is based on a symbiotic benefit, right? So nothing about streaming is purely legal yet in the sense of the DMCA or anything else. Like, there's been no precedent that says this is absolutely legal. There's no precedent saying it's absolutely illegal. It's been a relationship that's just been allowed to continue because everyone's benefited, right? The streamers have benefited and the companies have benefited. Once a streamer starts damaging brands and the legal fight is had, there is nothing that a IP holder wants more than the ability to control that particular brand and to manage the messaging around that brand. When those big business brands are damaged is when things like challenges, DMCA challenges happen, and when publishers start asking big questions about what the strategy is going forward. So I think a lot of it has yet to be determined. I think the old way of doing things where everyone's just turning a blind eye are going away very quickly. The Disney decision is the big step one in that. And it's only going to get more prevalent that people are going to want to take back control of their messaging and their brand, which will have a flow-down impact. Now, of course, that's the very unemotional, business-like way of looking at it, but a lot of times that's what really makes change happen for better or worse.
If it comes to somebody's money, that's
when they draw the line.
Yep, exactly. Yeah.
So it'll, like, I don't know, and I guess that goes back to the question that it was either Matt or Jay posed. I think it was Jay. Is how do we combat this, right? Like, because none of us here, not even Ken, who's got a pretty wide audience. None of us here will ever match the audience or the scope or the breadth of what PewDiePie has built. So none of us can really affect a change. And it's been asked, somebody's asked me, John, why even bother? I mean, you're not gonna make a difference. You're not gonna change anything because you don't have much of a voice in the YouTube community. None of you do. So why bother? All you'll do is attract negative attention to yourself. And I do have a reputation for getting into spats on Twitter with people, which I am trying to work on. I'm known to be kind of a hothead.
So I did not mean to go off on you about that last week.
No. I needed to be brought down a peg or two. Inside SDGC politics right there. But here's my thing, right? And I will refer you to a quote I used when I was on the panel at PAX East with Susan and Kyle Orland. When I brought up, why do I get confrontational with people who are racist or bigoted or anti-Semitic or xenophobic? Why do I bother? And I will refer you to a quote from a personal hero of mine. This is a man who was a major general in the German Wehrmacht during World War II, Henning von Treschow. And you're probably wondering, John, how was one of your heroes a German general or general officer from World War II? Well, he was described as the prime mover behind the plot to kill Adolf Hitler. And he was a committed anti-Nazi. He was ashamed at what Hitler had done to Germany. And at the very end of his life, when the July 19th, 1944 plot failed, he committed suicide to spare his family. And by holding a fucking grenade under his chin, no less. And right before he died, he wrote in his journal, he said, when I in a few hours go before God to account for what I have done and left undone in this world, I know I will be able to justify what I did in the struggle against Hitler. And he believed that the resistance had to act no matter what, even if they failed, to show the rest of the world that not all of Germany was like the Nazi Party. And I equate that to this situation. I think that that's why we have to do what we do to speak out against not just people like PewDiePie, but those ideals and those words and those phrases, because like we've said earlier on this podcast, those words do hold power. And they don't just hold power, they hold pain. They hold pain for a lot of people. None more so than good people like Brad and Ken and countless other African Americans who for guys like us, this word doesn't have the barbs and stingers that it does. And that's just a fact, because it's not something that we face on a daily basis. And so that's why I think that we have to step up and speak out against hatred and intolerance like this, because we have to show the rest of the world that not all gamers share PewDiePie's motives or thoughts, or that doesn't speak to who we are as people, not just gamers, but it doesn't speak to who we are as people. So I wanted to see what you guys thought about that. Like, it's probably a losing fucking battle, but I think it's a battle worth fighting anyway. But I wanted to go ahead. I'll stop talking.
I feel like the thing is like, we don't have, the fan base that PewDiePie has. We probably never will. But I mean, I feel like the thing is like, even if you're not like a huge activist, I mean, I feel like if you're just being real to yourself and you just act like the way you do every day, and you just show people that, show them like you're being truly yourself, I feel like that's as much as you can do, because as you've already stated, we are white males. So I mean, like, I feel like you just gotta be honest with yourself and just act like yourself to prove your point. And if you encounter someone who is the victim of hate, of hateful words or hate crimes, such as the ones PewDiePie has publicly said, open up for give them some words of encouragement, or like be like, yo, like, we can talk about this, or refer them to someone that they can talk to. As white males, there's not really a lot that we can do. But I feel like, if we're just positive about the whole situation, and, we just offer words of encouragement, like, I feel like that's the best that we can do. And I feel like at the end of the day, like, that's still, making somewhat of a statement.
Well, and that's why I want to commend Brad and Ken, because I've seen both you guys tackle this issue on Twitter, and it, like, especially like Ken, I've seen people come at you hard over this, defending PewDiePie, and you haven't lost your temper. Brad, you haven't lost your temper. You've remained calm and measured and reasonable, and not only proving the level of maturity that you guys hold over trolls like this who come at you on Twitter, but also the the depth of understanding that you guys have on the issue. So I think both of you guys should be commended on the way that you have handled it.
And I think one more thing that we need to remember is that even though like the majority of the people on this podcast are white male gamers, we're not a white male gaming family. We're just a general gaming family.
Yep.
I don't think there should not be any color or race when you're talking about your gaming family. It's just be gamers, and that's it.
So I guess I want to throw this to everybody, especially Ken and Brad. I've given my reason for doing this, and Jay has given his. Like what, knowing that we will probably not ever win this fight completely. What do you guys think we can do to combat it more effectively? I guess is what I'm asking.
Like I said, because I know. Well, I don't know. I don't necessarily know, but I believe most people, aren't of that mindset, regardless of what race they are. That's why I say, I live in New York. I know most people are open-minded here because, being racist is not something that you have to be taught.
Exactly. That's a fucking fantastic point.
That's something you have to be taught. Nobody just is born that way. It's something
exactly. When you're a kid, you see other kids. You don't care about what color they are. Where they're born. You're just saying, oh, hey, you're a kid too. Let's go play.
Yeah.
It's when you get into your teens that you start to, see people with those views of separation. Right. So it's definitely a taught, something that's taught. It's not born into anybody.
Yeah, and like with what you said, about the German and his German guy and his speech and everything like that. There was something else like this another quote that correlates to this. It's like it was something like people like Hitler came into power because people that were unaffected didn't do anything about it.
It was the exact quote is the road to the Holocaust was built by hate but paved with indifference.
Yeah. So people that weren't affected, watched Hitler be Hitler, and that's what gave him his power. Is to say.
And then they said, and then they said, I didn't bring him to power. It wasn't me.
Which is something else I think that we're seeing today as well.
So, and that's an interesting question, right? Like look at who's in the White House, and look what just happened in Charlottesville, Virginia, right? Which is doubly affecting for me. I used to live in Charlottesville. I spent 5 years of my life there. My son lives there. I'm watching what's going on in Charlottesville, like, holy fucking shit. Here's the thing, like, do you guys think that PewDiePie feels more empowered to or feels safer making slip-ups, quote unquote, like this in a Donald Trump led world, because he's the most powerful man on the planet now. And this is a man who refused to condemn white nationalists on live television. Do you think that not just PewDiePie's slip-ups, we'll call them, but also the defense of those words, do you think that people feel more empowered in today's America to do stuff like that?
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
I mean,
now they're like, okay,
we have right now.
Now people feel that those views are acceptable in society. They don't feel like they have to hide behind quote unquote PC views. They feel, okay, now that's the end of the PC era. Now I can tell how I really feel, and I won't get in trouble for it.
Well, I love the hypocrisy too from people who tweet out, when he uses the N-word, he's just calling people an asshole. And I'm like, well, then why don't you say it? It's wrong. You can't even fucking say it. Like, you're defending him saying the word. Yeah. And you can't even fucking say the word. Like,
they all say the word. They don't say that.
Because, everybody, 99% of people defending this shit on Twitter and on social media are saying the N-word. They're not saying the word itself because they know it's fucking
exactly. They know in the back of their minds it's wrong to use. So
they know it's wrong.
That alone shows the argument is just,
So
wrong,
it's a straw man argument.
Push it. Yeah.
It's a Burning Man argument, and I the level of hypocrisy that I see just blows my fucking mind.
Yeah, that's been probably the biggest thing for me. I shouldn't say this current year, since the year isn't over yet, but I would say the past 16, 18 months that's been the biggest thing. Just the blatant hypocrisy and how people don't realize what they said just 30 seconds ago go against something they said right after that. It's just been insane. especially to see it happen with people that are significantly older than you. The same people 2-3 years ago that were saying your generation are the generation that are screw ups and don't understand anything.
Yep.
Like to see those generations now have these views, it's just been insane. Like it's kind of it scares me, to be honest, because I'm like, okay, now I see why the world is so screwed up. But
I thought
at the
that
same time, it's like, man, again, we're supposed to be, my generation, millennials, are supposed to be the generation that doesn't know anything. Yet everything going on now shows that we are by far the main generation that actually treats people with respect.
Yeah.
Regardless of their nationality or background. And it's just been really eye-opening, to put it simply.
Well, it's also been really depressing. And it's just really all around an unfortunate situation. More than unfortunate. It's a disgusting situation. So we're kind of bumping up against our end time here. I would say that this is probably definitely the deepest conversation we've ever had, or at least the most serious conversation we've ever had on this podcast.
I just want to let our viewers know that, like, I know this conversation wasn't really about video games. It was about video games, but it was about like a much bigger picture. But I want to thank everyone for sticking around and for voicing your opinion in the chat tonight. I know normally Thursday nights,
I wish I could see the chat.
Thursday nights are supposed to be like a fun time. I know that tonight's conversation probably wasn't fun, but I feel like it was one that was necessary. So I want to thank everyone for sticking around tonight.
Yep.
I think to take it back to gaming, I think the main thing that people of Caucasian background that they can do is just call it out. Like as soon as somebody says something in the chat of a game's lobby or just within the game, just call it out, like on the spot. Because when people of my background call it out, they'll respond like, "Oh yeah, of course you guys say it's wrong.
Of course you think it's wrong. You're black.
You're black, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of why I brought the whole like what PewDiePie wasn't white thing a while back. I mean,
yeah, and it's I think if more people of the majority called it out, that's when things will change. I mean, they won't change fast. It'll be a slow process, but at least it'll change then. Yeah. And I do think that due to the gaming industry still having these views kind of, how should I say it, kind of stuck inside just due to how gaming has been, say, during the 80s and 90s in terms of who played them the most.
Yeah. And
how things are changing now. Due to gaming still having these views still, I guess you could say, baked inside, I do think that if more people called it out, we'll see more changes. Not just in terms of game developers wanting to branch off from YouTube streamers that have these views, but also I could see better features on consoles in which you can report what people do online and they'll take it more seriously. So I think if you have empathy, the events of this past year have more likely made you just stop and think like, wow, this is just... man, people are just crazy. So I do think that in the future we'll see stricter rules in terms of following guidelines and following, what you can and cannot say online. And maybe with the PS5 and the next Xbox, we'll see features in which you can really hammer down on people that state nasty things online and further cause gaming to stop being associated with these people.
I would like to see a system like that implemented.
John.
Yeah, what's up?
I wanted to bring it back one more time to gaming to ask that question of Matt.
Make it quick.
Matt, from your perspective, indie-wise, all these stories that came out this week about these indie games selling more on Switch than they have on other consoles combined. Do you think that's going to lend itself to more games hitting the Switch, or do you think that's going to be just a result, I guess, of not enough games and it's being a new system and games traditionally sell more when there's less competition?
So I think more games were going to come to the Switch regardless. I think this is just more positive momentum.
Yep.
It's apparently a very easy platform to work with, and Nintendo's been very good in helping people get games to the platform. It always helps early in a system's life, has a higher attach rate or a higher tie ratio with a more dedicated core fan base. So it's not a surprise that they're doing very well. We'll see how well that continues as the user base expands to the more mass market with Odyssey this holiday. So,
and I also think, and I'll just throw this in real quick. I also think games like Doom and Wolfenstein 2 coming to the Switch speak volumes about developer confidence in the Switch's future.
Or at least Nintendo hasn't been viewed, in that, I guess you say, game-specific, mature, rated title way.
The Wii U would have never gotten Doom. The Wii U would have never gotten Doom.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely not.
Never.
It's literally been almost 20 years since Nintendo has had mature games. So that's definitely shown the shift.
I mean, they had like Switch. Call of Duty on the Wii U, but it didn't do very well.
Yeah, that came and passed. Yeah, I mean, Call of Duty, the game's so big, you got to put on anything.
It's one of those things where
Game Boy was still around, they'd probably try to put on that.
It's one of those things where sales are good. That drives more development. More development drives more sales. Drives more hardware, drives more sales, drives more development. It's one of those things where when things really start going, everything goes to the positive, and that's when big platforms happen. And then, of course, you get a Pokemon RPG, and you get 2 or 3 Switches per household, and all of a sudden, you have something that hasn't been seen before, and we'll have to see if that's what happens or something else. But momentum is very strong all the way around for it, so it's a good thing.
And earlier you mentioned. Earlier, Matt mentioned FIFA, and I wanted to ask him, do you think FIFA will do well on the Switch due to the way the system's designed? Like the Joy-Cons, I mean, they're basic controllers, so a controller like that probably wouldn't be good for a game like NBA 2K or Madden, but FIFA just run back and forth, kick, pass, and you can pretty much do that on a Joy-Con, so I think it will be a good fit for that console.
Absolutely, and the portability is fantastic, and FIFA as a franchise continues to grow in both sales and popularity. I think it's going to be a real surprise performer this holidays. I'm very confident in it. So, yeah.
So, some pretty amazing conversations tonight. I want to before we go off the air here, I want to make a really cool surprise announcement.
Oh, is it that Saki's hosting?
No, it's not even that. It's I want to announce the return of the calmest man in video games.
Oh shit!
Steve is going to be back, and he's going to be back in a capacity that you guys weren't expecting. We are going to be, because Steve lives about 30 minutes from me, so we are going to be playing terrible games and streaming them live, and it is going to mark Steve's first appearance on camera.
Nice.
Hey. So you guys will finally.
How long has it been? I miss Steve. How long has it been?
It's been months because his PC got fried.
It's been like 6 months, dude.
He has not been able to afford a new one. But
he's barely gone this year.
Steve, we all miss Steve, and Steve is going to be back on the podcast starting next week, actually. And we're going to be streaming some terrible games together and making fun of them, and we're probably going to do it drunk. So it's going to be a fantastic time. Steve misses us. He misses being on, and this is the best way to get him back on the podcast right now. He is working on getting a PC very soon, so he will be back in that capacity as well. But Steve is still here. The calmest man in video games will be back, and he won't be so calm when he's laughing his ass off at whatever terrible fucking video game. I mean, I think we're going to start with
kids on Super Nintendo.
We should also have Saki stream
Home Alone on NES.
We're not going to do that. We're actually going to run a poll on Twitter to figure out what terrible game we start with. It might be Ride to Hell. It might be Big Rigs.
Big Rigs over the road.
I think you guys should pre-order new Bubsy and play that.
It might be Bubsy. It might be fucking. I mean, who knows what it's going to be? But it's going to be great. So Steve is going to be back. I want to thank Brad and Ken for hopping on and talking about what is a very, very difficult subject to tackle. And you guys had some great insights as I knew you would. And I love the conversation, and I love the discussion and the insight that you guys brought to the table. So Brad and Ken both, thank you guys so much for agreeing to come on and do this. It really means a lot to all of us.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah.
Thanks for the invite. And yeah, and no, I was going to say, and as always, just be kind to each other. And if you see garbage on Twitter, do something about it, even if it's just saying something. Show Show them that you are not like them and that you do not agree with them. Do it. Just stand up and make your voice be heard. Is all I can say.
And remember, Saki is life. Saki is love.
Saki says no bullying.
At
Great.
least it's a positive note for our podcast.
That's fantastic. Anyway, as you can catch us next week on Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. As always, look out for Steve and I to start streaming next week live. That's going to be a great fucking time. And as always, it's not always poetry, and we don't always agree, but we always keep it real. So until next week, we will see you guys later.